Hi, Kevin.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good.
Thank you very much.
Doing great. Thank you, Francisca and Judy. We appreciate it. Kevin Miller, the president and CEO of USAC. How you doing today?
Good, very good today. Getting ready for our annual banquet here coming up next week and some trade shows. And it's a very busy time for USAC with our scheduling for next year, kind of in our final phases as we polish up the sprint car, the midget silver crown schedules, our quarter midget series, as partners in off-road, our road racing series with Porsche. So a lot happening in the final weeks of the year here to get ready for 2023.
Yeah, definitely. And, you guys just had a pretty successful weeks of racing last week as well. Crowned your driver's champion and Justin Grant, and a lot of other things happening. As we sit here right now, it's interesting to think that, here in a couple of days, it'll be December, but before we know it, 2023 is going to start with all of the racing in the entire season. And, some great sports minds have always said you make your season in the off season. And I know you guys are going to be pretty busy doing that. As you mentioned, heck, trying to put the schedule together
Yeah,
with as many different series as you have.
It's an amazing time. We had a great 2022. We hit it on all the cylinders everywhere across the board. Car counts were up, memberships were up, sponsorships were up, fan count was up. Our numbers on our broadcast partner Flow Sports have been through the roof. So across the board, things have been going very well. And the momentum heading into 2023 is again, we're looking at another banner year. We kicked off. Well, I'll kind of talk about the different segments of our business, but USAC today, we've structured under 4 pillars of motorsports. We have our circle track programs, which are our traditional sprint car, midget, silver crown, and our quarter midget program. We have a power sports, which we own, International Snowmobile Racing, which is kind of a master sanctioning body for snowmobile racing, with over 40 affiliates under that one. We have an off-road category with great partners in Core Off-Road, Gas Off-Road, Ultra 4, and King of Hammers. And then we have our newest segment is road racing, where we launched the Porsche Sprint Challenge Series a couple years ago and have great partners with Radical Racing, SRO, Motorsports, and Road to Indy. So we've got these great pillars, and each segment we have to work on individually. But our traditional segment of circle track racing is just great things happening. Really excited about the schedule. We announced that at PRI in a week. We get some fantastic new opportunities coming up for our teams, and excited about that. But another segment of our circle track is quarter midget. So we launched that program 2009, geared for kids age 5 to 12, and we recently announced a new partnership with NASCAR. That program is now called the NASCAR U Series, and we will be racing at 10 NASCAR events next year in 2023 with NASCAR weekends. So very exciting times across the board for all of our circle track. And again, we're polishing the schedules, finalizing details for our big reveal next week. So it is a busy time.
Yeah, it is. And we're excited to hear about all of that as well. It's interesting, when it comes to motorsports and spectator events, there's always the how and the why. The how is, how do we get more people in the grandstands? How do we get more people watching on Flow? You've got a great partner there. Yep. And as you just mentioned, everything is up across the board. So then the next question is why? What was it? What turned things? Why are we seeing this uptick? What are you seeing, Kevin, that, and it's motorsports as a whole, really, but more specifically to what you guys are doing in USAC?
It's dependent. I wouldn't say that everywhere we race is seeing signs of success. We have pockets that are troubling. When we came out of COVID, that's not really a misstatement, I would say, but in June of 2020, we got back on the track, June 14th, and it was Indiana Midget Week, and it was some of the biggest crowds we've ever seen. Obviously, people wanted to get back out, and motorsports was kind of leading the way at that time. we were the first activities allowed to get back in. And since then, we've really seen the numbers. Car count's been great. Fan counts have been great. This year, in the Flow, we launched our Flow partnership in 2019, and the numbers just keep increasing. We just hit, I think with the BC39 viewership was 140,000 people live watching a midget race. That's phenomenal. And we've been averaging about 60,000 live viewers on a typical USAC race. So we're really enjoying that. And there's a big debate going on. Is that hurting fan count? And it's been very interesting to watch over the course of the last 2 years. We talked to 40, 50 promoters a year, and there's a debate going on in the industry. Does streaming hurt the count at spectator count at the track? And I can only show you examples, many examples of some of our biggest Flow audiences and sold out crowds at the track. Most recent example was this past Saturday night for Turkey Night. Turkey Night has seen crowds down in the past few years, but we moved it to Saturday night off of Thanksgiving, partially due to some local complaints of noise on Thanksgiving night. And this was an incredible crowd, huge viewership numbers on Flow, and it all came back together. So when you look across the board at tracks across America, it boils down to real simple basics. Are the promoters out there promoting the race, and are they providing the atmosphere that fans want to come to the track for? And in all those cases where promoters are doing the role they're supposed to do, their crowds are up, everybody's successful. And you can look at most of the biggest events that are been on streaming platforms across the board. Those crowds are huge at the track. But then you look at tracks that may have put in policies that, we're going to extend our break in between races so people can come to the track and buy more hot dogs, and we're gonna do things that we're gonna have you pay for parking. We're gonna, anything that they interject, fans are fairly sensitive right now to anything that they look at as a negative approach. If you're going to charge me a couple of nickels more for this, they're voting with their pocketbook as well. And from our perspective, we see it very clear because we're looking at different tracks around the country, and we can get that feedback instantly based on the fan count. So I've been, again, very pleased across the country at the numbers and response to our series. But those small pockets where you've got a promoter who's pushing back a little bit, hey, the streaming's hurting my business. And I've had a couple in Indiana that are good friends of mine, and we've had a debate for over a year, and much of the debate we could point back to weather. Weather is the first thing that impacted the crowd. And I will not disagree with any promoter. If you've got weather on that day and we're running, the guy more apt to stay at home and watching the streaming. If there's a pretty big threat of rain, I get it. That's going to impact it. But as we look back over the last couple of years, now we can look at the numbers. We are clearly seeing a pattern that streaming has not impacted negatively the tracks as other things will impact equally or greater. So we've been very fortunate, again, across the board with that debate. That debate's going to go on for the next several years, but we're clearly being able to defend that with the fact that the crowds have been up. And again, good friends of mine, Reese O'Connor at Kokomo Speedway, Tom Helfrich at Hopstadt, I'll call them out. They're not trying to pick the phone up and say, hey, streaming's impacting. But after they look at the season and the last couple seasons and look at all the numbers and look at everything, they can now see the trends that other things may have impacted the crowds on those nights versus streaming. So we're confident in that debate of how it's been playing out. And we feel strongly that the future, if you're not providing fans real content, live content, you're not going to be relevant in 5 years, because today's generation is, I need it now and I want access. And if we're hiding that from them, thinking that's going to sell a few more tickets, then I don't think in 5 years from now you'll be selling many tickets at all. So we've been pretty adamant about that discussion.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you on the streaming. I actually think it's a great thing because it's just simply more exposure, and not to mention the more exposure that you get with people watching the streams. But then when you start to realize, and you look at some of the bigger national series like NASCAR, IndyCar, different things like that, and all of a sudden you realize that, hey, there are a lot of racers that are at work this weekend, but they're able to be at the track because of the streaming. Then they're talking about it on social media. They're doing a lot of other things that are bringing exposure as well. And, it's interesting that you talk about promoters, and I would agree with you on weather. I remember promoting races, heck, if the forecast was for rain on Saturday, people would be calling you Tuesday saying, hey, are you racing this weekend? Let's get to the weekend first. But, it's interesting with live events coming back as a whole. And I've always been one to subscribe to the fact that, hey, another racetrack might not necessarily be your competition, but maybe high school football and the movie theater and the concert that's in town and all of those other things, those are a lot of what your competition is as well. And, a lot of live events are coming back. We're seeing concert tickets like regularly priced for $400 or more. And I can't help but think about what a great value racing is and maintaining that value, Keith.
Well, I think that you're spot on. Try and go skiing for a day. Lift tickets are $200. So it is, when you look at our sport right now, you can go anywhere in Indiana and buy a ticket to go to a race for $25 to get in for a night of entertainment. You don't find it anywhere. When you hit on something, the weather app, we've talked about it for the last few years. The weather app, people are looking at their phone and making plans for that weekend, Tuesday, Wednesday. And that's probably the biggest impact that we've seen on motorsport and crowd counts is weather apps. When I grew up as a kid, we didn't have that. And, we woke up on Saturday morning praying it wouldn't rain that day, and we would still be going to the track at 3:00. And even if we, it may have poured at 5, but we didn't know. We were banking on it wouldn't. But today, I mean, you're right. When people say, on Wednesday it's supposed to rain from 5 to 7, they're already making other plans, and that does definitely hurt our sport the most.
Mm-hmm. How much do you see, and you really do have a unique perspective of being able to see how different promoters throughout the country are hosting their events, especially when you guys are in town and different things like that. And, for the longest time, and maybe this debate even still continues, I'm not as much on that side of it anymore, of, the promoter who wants to make their money off the back gate versus the promoter who wants to make their money off the front gate. And heck, sometimes for both, that can shoot you in the foot in that all of a sudden you start racing at 3 and then you're done at 3 a.m. because you've got either so much going on or so many breaks in the action. But what are you seeing with those kinds of trends?
Boy, that's a very clear answer to that one. And that is, if you're focused on the back gate, you are not going to be business long. We again look at some select tracks where we know the promoter, we know the business model he's focused on, and long term it won't bring you more sponsors because you don't have eyeballs in your seat. We quite frankly, our promoters have a lot to learn, and we've been honest with them and tell them, we have to help you promote. And this is a discussion that's been ongoing the last year with our partner Flow. The best thing we can do for our promoters is to help them promote better. I have offered every promoter out there, hey, give us some ads that we can run on Flow for you for your local sponsors. Not one has taken me up on it. And we do 100 races a year. Not one has brought me ads, say, can you play this for me this week? Now, they may give me ads and say, can you promote our race 2 months from now? Which we do. but they're not bringing me any ads for Bob's Burgers locally that you can play during our race because I owe him something. They have not adjusted to technology as much as they need to. We have tracks out there that still take cash only for their tickets. That's not going to cut it. I personally don't carry cash around myself. I can tell you stories of tracks that we've gone to where somebody has walked up to one of our officials because they were friends and asked for some cash because they didn't bring cash to buy a ticket. In today's world, if you're not selling advance tickets, if you're not promoting it using technology, if you think that by putting a Facebook ad out there is promoting a race without understanding how to boost the ad, how to target the ad, again, if you're counting on the back gate and you're counting on, hey, I've got a race and I've got 5 divisions coming, it may work for you right now, but you're the same promoter who's complaining about attendance, complaining how streaming's hurting their business, and complaining that they're not making anything, they're getting by. So the other thing that we have a great perspective on, when you look across, we're kind of focusing right now on dirt track racing, circle track racing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people it's interesting when we as a business can look at the different segments, road racing and how that works, and off-road racing, how that works, snowmobiles across the board. Road racing, the entry fee is $5,000 and you're running for a trophy. And the model works. You walk around the paddock and you're looking, there's a lot of money in that paddock. And it's paid for by the guy driving the car. And he's happy to be there for the weekend driving a car. And the tires are a lot of money, and there's just a lot of money in that paddock. But there's no purse, there's no fans to support that. The only segment of the sport that really is working today, without artificial bang for your buck addition, dirt track racing. You can go to a local dirt track as a car owner. You pay $25 pit pass to get in, and you're racing on a USAC race, $6,000 to win, $600 to start on 22 car in the field, with the overall purse of $25,000 a night, all supported by fans who came in and paid $25 for a ticket. And I hear the grumbling, at the track. Why should I pay for a pit pass of $25? We're the show. Why are we? And it's when you sit back and go, well, if you want to go off-road racing, your entry fee is $1,000. They're only paying the top 3 spots. There's different models in motorsports, and most of motorsports has become a play to pay environment. So I think from the dirt track perspective, it still works. There are still fans that support it, and like Flow has found, we launched Flow Racing in 2019, February 2019, with 300 people watching live, and that has grown and grown and grown. It still continues to grow, which baffles me, and I think baffles Flow a little bit too. But that base still continues to grow, and that's a huge base out there that supports dirt track racing, dirt circle track racing on a week-by-week basis. And that business is healthy in motorsports. It's probably the most healthiest segment of motorsports there is today, is dirt circle track racing on a weekly basis.
Yeah, which I think is a great thing. With that exposure, and being able to have an audience like that, you can deliver. Now let's talk about helping your competitors find new ways to earn money. The easiest way is if they might want you to raise the purse, whatever it might be. But now if you've got a different avenue for them to say, hey, you tell your sponsor, we're going to have however many people streaming this race. Now, all of a sudden, if it's someone who's part of the national touring series, whatever it might be, how much does that help them on that side?
Well, that's a great conversation. We provide the numbers to our drivers. We have an annual package we give them. They can go out and sell sponsorships. It's tough. They're trying to sell sponsorship for a one car thing. We have told some of our key drivers, look, you're racing with us every week. don't be afraid to come ask us for help. If you've got something you need to leverage, we'll talk about it. The great thing about our Flow broadcast partnership is that we're 100% in charge of production and commercials. So we can tell stories. We have downtime. We can talk to drivers. We can talk about their sponsors. It's a platform that gives us full empowerment to help our drivers. But again, there's been a few that have come to us, but most of them come to us with, hey, we need a bigger purse. We need a bigger points payout. We need bigger, which we have been doing. I think we're going to show a few. I mean, every year we've been raising the number of races with bigger payouts. That's a trend that's going on. That is, quite frankly, being supported by streaming platforms. But I also think that support, I wouldn't say it's going away. I would say that support is starting to hit its limit, where the streaming platforms, it's no secret they've been, in kind of a challenge to grow their number base of subscribers. So they're willing to do things outside the box to get more subscribers. But as those platforms, those subscriber bases are starting to plateau, you won't see the level of abnormal things happening in the streaming world that you've had the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
At USAC, we're trying to build a sustainable model, something that once we do something in the future, we can repeat it. We don't want to do something this year, throw some abnormal thing out there, $100,000 win rate that we can't do next year. So it's very important for us that what we're doing today, what we do this year, what we announce this year, we can sustain next year as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. And look, there's a reason why USAC has been around for as long as it has and is one of the oldest sanctioning bodies in history, which is a great thing. You mentioned the quarter midget deal, 10 NASCAR races on the schedule. You talk about big announcements for 2023 coming up. What is on the horizon? What are some of the other things you're working on, Kevin?
Oh, well, the NASCAR thing is important to us because we wanted to grow the future of the sport, and we need that pipeline to keep coming in. We saw our involvement in quarter midgets that started in 2008. A lot of those kids started coming to USAC midget races. We've got USAC champions that started our quarter midget series, and many, you look at the NASCAR truck series today, half the field is former USAC quarter midget drivers. So we feel like that's important. And quite frankly, the discussion with NASCAR was just that. This is our future. Let's build it together. And putting the NASCAR name on there definitely brings more exposure to it. But we're working on in that segment, what's the future? You're not going to, what kind of cars are people buying today? Like it or not, the industry is transitioning to electrical power plants. Quarter midgets is based on gasoline powered lawnmower engines. Well, you're finding a very fast transition to electric powered lawnmowers. So we're following that. We're working on something that we hope to announce fairly soon in that category. So we're excited about quarter midgets with the NASCAR relationship, with power plant changes, with technology, building it for the next generation. I think the biggest change for USAC from a business standpoint has been our entry into road racing that we initiated we sanctioned the SRO Motorsports series, I think since 2016, 17. And it's been a great relationship. Greg Gill, who is a USAC board member, and I are close friends. We work together with SRO, and SRO has been a fairly independent sanctioned partner of USAC. But what's really interesting, 2 years ago, which if you think about it, we launched in 2020 at the height of the pandemic. I'm sorry, 2021, coming out of it, we launched the Porsche Sprint Challenge Series. So it's a series we own and operate, licensed by Porsche. And we didn't really know what we were getting involved in. It was a series that Porsche asked us to operate for them. And we launched it Sebring in March of 2021, and we've never looked back. It's been phenomenal growth. We had one run group in 2021. In 2022, we expanded to 2 run groups. So that means we're taking double the time at tracks on a weekend. And entering 2020, and actually last year, we were very fortunate to run with Formula One in Miami at the first race. We were a support class. The series really has done well. And part of the success was USAC coming into road racing, maybe not understanding how it's been done. And it's been a good thing. Our first race at Sebring, we went in and put a lot of branding up, a lot of signage up. We did things that I guess aren't really done. What we do all the time in other series, we took it to road racing, and we created a little spark. So that series has been phenomenal for us. But what's been very interesting, as we've tried to solve things for that Porsche Sprint Challenge series, we entered 2022 knowing that we were falling short in 2 areas, and both technology related. That was timing and scoring, because we were used to timing and scoring, circle track events with a loop.
Yeah.
And now we're going to road courses that are 2 miles long, and you need more than 1 loop. Maybe you need 2 or 3, which the industry provides 3. The drivers want 15. So we were not meeting what the drivers wanted or desired on timing, and we definitely were not hitting the mark on streaming, because we do a fantastic job on flow for dirt tracks with a camera up top and a roving camera. We do a horrible job going to Road America and trying to cover it with 4 cameras. So we entered 2021 knowing we're a little bit light in technology. We made a pretty significant investment with a resource. We hired a gentleman named Wes Ratcliffe, and Wes has been a phenomenal answer for us. But when we entered, by that investment, we're exiting 2021, entering 2023. Now we are now taking over the timing and scoring for SRO Motorsports. We're providing timing for Radical, our own Porsche series with 16 segments on the track. We're really invested well and put a high degree of technology to become a leader in timing and scoring services. So we're very, very fortunate that we've made some right moves, and now we've got to do the same thing for streaming on the other side. So,
well, you have a lot to be proud of, not just growth in what we're seeing with people able to view the sport, whether it's at the track or streaming, but obviously growing what you're doing with USAC as well. Really appreciate you taking some time here today, Kevin, especially, as busy as things are right now for you guys, and we look forward to some of the announcements to come. I hope y'all have a great banquet.
all right, thanks for the time. I appreciate the time today, guys. Good luck for the rest of the week.
Registering on EPARTRADE is easy. To start, click on the Join for Free button on the homepage. First, search your company to see if it's already in our database. If you see your company on the list, click on it to select it. Then, choose Claim Company if you are one of the decision makers, an owner, marketing person, or main company contact. Or choose Join Company if you are an employee, and press Continue. If you couldn't find your company in our database, select Register a New Company. On the following page, fill out your name, email, phone number, job title, and choose a secure password. If you chose Register a New Company, you'll need to choose your business type. Select Supplier if you're looking to display products or services and connect with buyers. Choose Racing Business if you're looking to source new parts and connect with suppliers. Choose Race Team if you own or are a member of a professional race team. Then, enter your company name. Please provide a website, Facebook page, or LinkedIn if you have one, and choose to either claim or join the company. You can view and agree to our terms of use here. If you'd like to receive our weekly newsletter, choose Accept. Finally, click Register Now and your registration will be submitted for approval. An email will be sent to your inbox. please confirm your email address and you will be approved shortly. Welcome to EPARTRADE.